Today I picked up a, let's say, used worn winch that's had some water inside it. You can see there's corrosion on everything. Corrosion even inside here. A lot of rust, surface corrosion. There's bits broken off it. That's one of the bolts are in there. One of the studs. Bits missing. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can fix this thing up and get it working. I'm just going to start here on the actual motor windings and just get the surface corrosion off, get it back to bare metal, and clean that up, clean that section up. Then I'll clean up the brushes, and I need to replace this link here that's broken. So basically these two wires need to join, so I'll just replace that. There's some terminals here, so I can get another piece of cable and replace that. Then I've got to sort this out, try and clean this up a little bit inside here, get all the corrosion out, and just work through it. Okay, with a little bit of emery paper, some coarse stuff and then some fine stuff, you can see that's cleaned up pretty good. Now the bearings are still good on this, they feel pretty smooth. The spline's in good condition, there's no broken teeth on there. The piece that connects onto the spline, if I can find it, it's in there. There it is there. That's not too bad either, so that obviously goes on to there, which then goes through and connects to the brake drum inside there. So that's all in pretty good order. Okay, so I'll put that aside now and see if we can't sort these brushes out. The actual brushes were jammed in there, so these would not move. Like these springs help these keep pressure on these, on the rotor, on this section here, on the armature. So that sits over there. And these were rusted in, so none of these would move. So I had to get them out very carefully, and then I've cleaned it all up. Got all the rust off it, or as much as I could anyway, just with a light sand, and that's back together. Now I still need to fix this, that's broken there, so I need to join those, and along with this one they will connect to the A post, which I need to replace in here. Okay, today I'm actually going to try and install a winch to my stock Colorado bull bar. So that's the Holden bull bar. I've actually had this winch sitting in my garage for about 8 months. There's some work I had to do to it to get it up to working order. So basically, when I got it, the actual motor had water in it, as well as the rust that was inside there. You can see the brushes, there was damage to it. So this stud here, in fact, which connects to these two wires, was broken. And so this is the old set of brushes here. So what I've ended up having to do was get a whole new brush set, an aftermarket one, and just replace it. I couldn't actually fix this, so that's for the bin. So I've installed that. What I've done on the gearing end is take out a whole heap of grease. Whoever had this before me just filled the thing with grease. Even in free spool you couldn't actually turn the drum because there was that much bloody grease in it. Took out a fair bit of the grease, and I've also rotated the free spooling latch towards the back of the winch. And the reason for that is, with this particular bull bar, you can't actually, if this was on top, you can't actually access it. The bull bar mount is recessed right towards the back of the bar, So I'm going to have to cut a hole in the back of the actual bull bar to access this. So I've taken these bolts out, rotated it, put them back in, and hopefully that will work when I set it up in the bar. Anyway, so the first thing I've got to do is actually take out on the underside here of the car, just take out all these bash plates, bash plate here, all these side guards, so I can access the bolts that hold the bar onto the frame. Once that's done, I can take those bolts out, take the front of the bull bar off, which will leave, you can see the mounting holes here for the winch. It'll just leave this section connected to the car, and then I can start mounting and go from there. Okay, so there's two ways I can take this bull bar off. I can remove the bolts here. There's one here, there's one around the back, but that'll take the tray out too, because the actual winch tray is this part here. So I've really got to leave that. So then I've really got to take these two, but there's two bolts either side, two bolts here and two bolts on the other side. So I've really got to take them out, which will only take the front part of the bar off and leave the tray in position. I've also got to disconnect the driving lights, so they come off, I guess, with the bull bar here, because they're attached to the front part, so they've got to disconnect and remove those. Okay, so it turns out I can't take it apart up here like I wanted to, so I'm going to have to actually remove these bolts here, loosen these, and then take this bolt out. The whole bar is going to come off, and I'm just going to have to work with it on the ground and then remount the whole thing. It's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. Okay, so with that off, you can see the cradle there for the winch. It's already got a hole cut in there for the cable to run through. I've actually got to transfer that hole onto the front for the fair lead. Now, as I mentioned, this is all hidden, so I can't actually access the disconnection for the gearbox. So I'm going to have to cut a hole in the back here so I can reach it from the back. And then I'm pretty sure I need to drill some new mounting holes. These are not quite wide enough, these outside ones. Anyway, so I'll mark that up, drill those, cut that hole, transpose that hole to the front, and then see if I can mount this winch in here. Okay, so what I did is I put just a center punch for these holes so I can get started, and I'm using some cutting compound just because it's probably about 3mm thick, this steel, and I've got to get up to 10mm for the bolts. Okay, so I've got the mounting holes drilled and I've cut out this section here so I can activate the engage the gears, disengage. Now I'm going to have to prime and paint these just so they don't rust, and then cut the hole in the front for the fair lead. Okay, so underneath the bull bar, what I've done, so here's the two mounting holes. I've actually just made up a couple of these brackets that'll go there just to spread the load. So I've just had to notch this out as well. So what I'll do is I'll actually weld these on. I've already painted them, but whatever. I'll weld these on just to strengthen it, because I've cut a little bit out here and here. And I don't want to pull through this plate, because some of these mounting holes are quite close to the old holes, so especially this one here. So I just wanted to strengthen it as best as I can. Okay, so now I've got to mark up where the fair lead's going to come through the front here. And basically, you can see the winch mounts pretty much right on the bottom, so it's going to line up just above this bottom edge. So this fair lead just has to, the bottom edge of the fair lead has to sit on that edge, and obviously centered on the bull bar roughly. So I'll measure it up, mark it up, then I've got to grind out the slot there, drill out the two mounting holes for it, get that mounted. There it is. Okay, so now I've got to drill the holes. Beautiful. Perfect. Now I'm going to just prime and paint that, and job done. So this is just an etch primer, and then I'm going to spray it in some metal shield black. Okay, so that's the brackets welded on. A bit rough, but anyway, they'll hold, and spray it up. So I'll let that dry, then I can mount the fair lead, and I guess sit the winch in and then look at the wiring. Now I've changed what I was going to do. I wanted to get the solenoid box up inside there, but it's obviously not really possible, hence why people mount them on top here. So it's just going to go up on here like most winches. What I've had to do with this solenoid box is, when I got it, this is normally where the remote plug connection is. Now for some reason what they've done is they'd actually mounted that plug in their dash, in the, you know, the person who got it, I got it from, their car had the socket in the dash. So there's actually no socket here, even though I've got the remote. It's no good to me. So what I've done is I've just got a remote control, like a wireless remote control unit, which then connects into the solenoid box. So you just have these in the car, you don't have to get out and plug in your old school plug, so that's useless. And solenoid box, and so these come straight off the wireless control unit and plug into these 3 connectors here. We've got connectors on here, they plug in there, and then our cables come from here to the actual winch. So that way, in theory, you don't have to have the lead out your window and all that sort of stuff. And I've just had to go that option anyway because I didn't have the socket on here. So for my cabling between the solenoid and the winch, I've gone with 35mm, and then for my positive and negative, I've gone with a 70mm. So this is the positive negative cable to the battery, and then the rest of this will be 35mm to the winch. Okay, so I've got the winch bolted in. At the moment, cable's out through the fair lead. Connected the 2 grounds because that's underneath there, ready to go. Now I can mount the solenoid box up here, do the wiring, keep going. Okay, so I've got that solenoid temporarily mounted there, just so I can get this cabling sorted out. So I need to come and connect up to here, so I can put a little bit of slack up in here, so if I need to take this off, I can. So we can put this up and connect it to there. This one goes directly to a battery isolator, which will go up inside the car. And this is the ground wire, which I needed to extend, so that'll connect to this. Need to solder that together. And that's it. So there's the cabling finished. So this goes to the battery oscillator, that goes to the negative post on the battery. I've tested it, just make sure it's going in the right direction, and it's all good. So that's about it. Time to get the bumper back on, the bull bar back on the car, which is going to be bloody heavy now with the winch on. Okay, finally got the bumper on, and then we can try this winch out. So there's a remote here, so in. I've just got it hooked up to a battery, temporary battery for now. So that's pretty much it. As I say, those cables, I'm waiting for a battery isolator to come so I can hook that up. You need an isolator or something to be able to turn it off, and then that should be pretty much it. Job done. That took a good part of about six hours. Just fiddling around, getting it done right. But that's it. Thanks for watching.